residential and commercial construction services you can trust, call Delta Contracting and Design Incorporated in Strattonville today at 814-764-5506. Or if it's concrete and excavating work you need done, then call Ace Concrete and Excavating at 814-764-5551. More on both Delta Contracting and Design and Ace Concrete and Excavating can be found at delcondesign.com. That's DELCON design.com.
You're watching high school sports on the YDL Sports Network.
Allegheny Electric Service of St. Mary's has been providing industrial and commercial electrical solutions for over 35 years. They offer complete design, build, installation, and maintenance of automated systems for a variety of industries. Allegheny Electric designs and installs wiring and lighting for any size project, big or small. And when you find yourself in a jam, they'll get your machine or facility back up and running in no time. Call Allegheny Electric Service at 814-781-1940 or visit AlleghenyElectric.com. With locations in Shippenville and Tionesta, Tionesta Builder Supply is a full-service home improvement center specializing in everything you need to build or remodel your home. From power tools and accessories to paint and sundries and general hardware merchandise, Tionesta Builders has everything you need to get your project done quickly. Find out more at tionestabuilders.us and like them on Facebook.
What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like original pan, original stuffed crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
With convenient looking.
Award-winning wings, cold beer, burgers. What else could you want? Just head on over to the Super Sub and Six Pack in Dubois for the best wings in the Dubois region, as well as the greatest selection of cold beer and much more. Located just off the Beeline on McCracken Run Road. Good food, cold beer, ready to go. Super Sub and Six Pack in Dubois. Go online at supersixpack.com. That's P-A-K at the end. Super Sub and Six Pack in Dubois.
Okay, let's give this another shot, folks. I'm Chris Rossetti. He's Al Modrzewski. We are here live at Tippin Gym following the KSAT championship game. Today is the Delta Contractors Coach's Chalkboard Show. We'll take care of that echo here in a moment, folks. I think I know what's going on with that. We'll get that taken care of. But first, I want to let you know, Red Bank Valley defeated Karn City 45-30 in the girls' game, and it was 64-48 in favor of Karn City over Clarion Limestone in the boys' game. And Coach Al, this is the Coach's Chalkboard Show, so let me let you break it down a little bit. What did you see out there tonight?
Yeah, both results were completely unexpected, Chris. Actually, the two games, the two teams that I anticipated winning going in, ended up winning the game. Both games kind of raggedy. They weren't exactly masterpieces out there. But both the Red Bank Valley girls and the Karn City boys controlled play most of the time. I think the scores were quite indicative of the game. I thought, especially in the second game, CL made a bit of a run to get back in the game. Never get into single digits. That was the key thing. And in the first game, I thought the Karn City girls played very well early on, but mainly led by Addie Bond in the second half with some really big shots down the stretch. Was the player of the game, pulled away at the end. But two very deserving teams. Probably, Chris, in my opinion, the two best teams ended up winning the championship. And I thought it was a good night here for basketball at the gym.
No question, Al. Definitely turned out to be okay. It's kind of first-time jitters, I guess, doing the show this year. But yeah, some glitches are going to happen. Let's go back to that girls' game first. It was really a weird game. Karn City got down 19-6 at the end of the first quarter. And it looked like Red Bank was going to blow them right out of the water. And then something funny happened. Red Bank went over 13 and a half minutes without scoring a basket from the field. They did hit a few free throws, I think 6 to be exact, and it allowed Crunch City to come back and tie the game.
Yeah, they became very stagnant offensively. Really basically shot themselves in the foot often. It's turnovers, forced shots, and basically, gave Karn City a chance to get back in the game. Credit Karn City girls. They hung in there. They didn't let the game get away from them. And they actually made it a game to the point where they tied it in the second half. But and then down the stretch, then the opposite happened. They went ice cold, and I think they scored maybe 2 points in the last 6.5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, Addie Bond really took over, sophomore, and to see a sophomore like that, Al, who just decided to take over a game like that, that's pretty impressive.
What I have to give her credit was she was missing a lot of shots early, but the old saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and she didn't give up. She obviously very self-confident young lady. She took great shots. She started hitting and getting her rhythm in the second half and take the basket, got an old-fashioned three-point play, hit 2 3-points. In one stretch, she scored 9 straight points, which really put them up in the lead and got it from a tie game to a 9-point lead. And after that, it was over.
Did you see anything that Red Bank started doing differently offensively down the stretch there that they weren't doing early on, most of it?
No, not really. I think they just once she got that little 9-0 run on her own, it almost took the weight of the world off their shoulders. I think they were pressing and forcing things a little bit. Then they kind of let the game come to them, ran their offense a little bit more, and were able to get better shots. And at that point, they really clamped down defensively, and that was it for Karn City.
And then we move over to the boys' game, and I don't know what to say about it. It was physical, but maybe not in a good way.
Yeah, it was just a raggedy game, Chris. I mean, too many weird ebbs and flows. I thought there was a lot of calls. It was a parade to the foul line. It kind of took a lot of the rhythm out of the game in a way. But it was just an unusual game. I always thought Karn City was pretty much controlled the whole way. I don't think they were ever truly threatened. I think their physicality really bothered CL. Their experience with the Kramer kid and Bailey. I think they just really wore them down. And I just think, and when you live and die by the three, I guess in the last 3 games, Rich was telling me a statistic where they were something like, even though they won the last 2 games, they're something like 2 for 32 over the last 2 games. Shooting from 3, and beginning this game they were about 2 or 3 from 16. So eventually, it's going to cost you when you can't shoot like that. And you're a team that lives and die by the 3. Especially a young kid like Paul Craig, who's going to be a heck of a player. Really, very talented young man, and he was having trouble scoring. And I just think it snowballed on them. And then you start missing shots. It gets in your head, and before long, the game got away from them.
Well, there were 56 free throws in that game. 37 taken by Karn City, and it felt like, CL got down 20 or 22 late in the third quarter. They got it back to 9 quarter.
I never really felt there was even when they got it to 9, it was one of those games where, we've both been around basketball all our lives. It was a situation where I never really thought that they were in danger of blowing the game or losing the game. Even when it got down to 9, it just was a weird dynamic with the game, with the calls, and kind of like there was no ebb and flow to the game, really.
How hard is that as a player? How hard is that as a coach when there's no flow to a game like that?
Well, it's hard because you just really can't get in the rhythm, either running your stuff or coaching the game. It's just, and again, I'm not blaming it either way. Just some of there's games that happen like that. Just because the way the game is called or the way the game is being played, it just definitely takes away from any rhythm that you get or any kind of momentum because there's too many, breaks in the game in terms of stoppages of play, and it just makes for a weird game. And we've all seen games like that. Being around basketball my whole life, there's games that are like that, and I think that early on, CL put themselves in a real big hole by the way they were playing, but they never really had a chance to get back into it because of the way the game was called, the way the game was played.
And then, it really sets up an interesting double-A bracket. Red Bank Valley, the 1 seed, gets beat by Clarion Limestone last night, but they'll be the 1 seed coming up, and they'll get to play CL again, possibly.
is going to have to win the 5-4 game against Ridgeway, which isn't a given, obviously.
No.
You saw Ridgeway twice this year.
Ridgeway have a tremendous amount of respect for their coach. They're very, very well coached. They play a style of play, as we know, that's not fun to play against. Extremely disciplined. They hold the ball. They run their offense. They run their stuff to definition. I mean, they really run it well. Again, very well coached. It's not a team that you look forward to playing against. So that's not going to be an easy game for them at all.
And then Karn City, if the bracket holds true, would end up playing an Otto Eldred team that struggled a little bit against Cameron County tonight in the NPL championship game. They ended up with an 11-point win, but that's a team that went to the state semifinals last year. Never a team that you want to play, a team that knows that it can win in the state playoffs. You don't want to get that in a semifinal game.
Yeah, once you get into this time of the year, all these teams are really good. They're all different kind of teams and obviously differently coached, differently played. Everything's different, but it's literally a situation. I don't see any team here that's head and shoulders above anybody else. I think literally it's a cliche, but I think anybody can win. And I think it's going to make for some exciting basketball in the coming weeks, Chris.
Yeah, and staying on the boys' side, maybe a little bit of a shock up in the AML title game tonight when Johnsonburg knocked off Elk County Catholic, handing the Crusaders just their second loss of the year. First two games, they were really close. At Johnsonburg only lost by 3. They lost by single digits in the championship game of the Elk County Holiday Tournament. And tonight they got them, and those are your top 2 seeds. And, the old saying, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Well, what happens in a fourth matchup if the bracket would hold true and those two teams play in a championship?
Again, based on what has gone so far, it's anybody's ball game. I mean, anytime you see an Elk County team lose, anytime you see an Aaron Straub team get knocked off in the playoffs, you're taken aback a little bit because there's what that program has done, what he has done over the years speaks for itself, obviously. So, but at this point right now with the fourth contest, hey, anything can happen. They've all been nail-biters down to the end. 2 very well-coached teams, 2 excellent programs. I'm not shocked that Johnsonburg won today, but then again, I wouldn't be shocked if Elk County comes on and beats them again. I mean, anything can happen.
Well, yeah, and they got to get there first. I mean, Clarion is the 3rd seed. They almost knocked off this Karn City team last night. So, that's another, I think the 2 boys brackets in the lower levels in single A and double A are going to be really good basketball brackets.
Oh, absolutely. And Clarion's a wild card here because that's a team with, they may not have any guys that are like exclusively basketball players, but they're loaded with athletes. They're deep. They really like to push the tempo offensively. They'll press the whole game or pretty much the game. And with their depth and their athleticism, if they get hot and Devin Lauer's hitting some shots and the rest of those guys chip in here and there, this is a team that can win the whole thing too. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch these next couple of weeks because there's no one clear-cut team that you look at and say, hey, that team is the team to beat. That team is the absolute, favorite. Really, it's a cliche to say, but anybody can win this.
Yeah, I don't feel that way on the girls' side, though. I feel on the girls' side that Elk County Catholic is not only the number 1 seed, they beat St. Mary's tonight for the AML title, but I feel like they're a team that could make a deep run into the state playoffs. But Al, anytime you start talking about that, some luck has to be involved, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially when it comes to playoffs. All it takes that's the beautiful thing about basketball. All it takes is you run into a team that's shooting threes real well, a hot team that gets hot at the right time. That particular team has an off day, and the calls go against them. So many different variables can happen in playoff basketball at any level, whether you're in college, high school, pros, whatever. That all that stuff goes out the window. I mean, yes, they're the favorite team. Just like Red Bank, I think, is by far the best team among the girls' teams in this area. But once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Well, yeah, and, Countersport in AA just won the NPL title tonight over Oswego Valley, holding Oswego Valley to 3 points in the second half. And so anytime you can do that defensively, you can be tough out. That'll be an interesting semifinal game on the 28th between Montauk and Countersport. I know the Montauk folks, they'd like another shot at Red Bank Valley. They lost on a half-court shot by Addie Bond at the buzzer, and I think they feel like it's their time maybe there to get that one. But again, part of the reason it's not quite as interesting in the AA girls is there's only 3 teams, where on the boys' side there's 9. Yeah. So that kind of bracket sometimes does make a difference. Well, folks, that's going to do it for us here at Tip and Jim tonight.
Coach's Chalkboard Show, powered by Delta Contracting. Hopefully next time, quite so many technical difficulties at the start of the show.
There's going to be glitches. There's going to be glitches first time around. But no, it was fun to be here, Chris. Appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can do this again.
So, folks, I'm going to walk here in front of the camera real quick, and we're just going to end this right now. Thanks for joining us tonight.